What's really good, y'all? It's your girl Maka, also known as Quite Hilarious, also known as 6ix9ine's mama, because I always knew that boy was gonna tell on everybody. I always knew. Anyways, welcome back to my channel. Better yet, welcome to my first day of 13 days of Halloween. I'll be spending the next 13 days showing y'all some different Halloween looks, and I hope y'all enjoy. This first one's gonna be our 6ix9ine inspired look with my mouth sewn shut, cause ain't no telling over on this side. Anyways, let's get into it. As you can see, I'm doing my everyday makeup. If you want to see how I achieve my everyday makeup, then go ahead and check out some of my prior videos where I do go in detail on how I do my makeup. And I don't have a mirror in front of my face, so I apologize if you can't see what I'm doing with my makeup, but this is more so for the Halloween part opposed to my actual everyday makeup. Alright y'all, so now I'm going in with the makeup wipe and removing all the makeup on the lower half of my face. Honestly, don't be a head ass like me and put makeup down there. Just don't do it. It makes life easier and you save yourself some time in a step. So once I remove my makeup, I go in with a layer of liquid latex just so I have a base for my Kleenex I'm going to use to create my fake skin. And also I want to use it to kind of map out how I want my mouth to look. Once I've got that liquid latex where I want it, I then go in with some Kleenex and I start creating my fake skin. When you're using this Kleenex, make sure you're ripping it into small enough pieces so that it doesn't make hard to work with. If you use too big of a piece, it's really hard to work with, and honestly it just looks a little bit more messy. So as you can see throughout the video, I kind of struggle because I'm using pretty big pieces of Kleenex. Try to use big enough pieces that you're covering enough space, but not too big that it's hard to work with. But yeah, so once I put down the Kleenex, I then go in with another layer of liquid latex, and I do this process for about 5-6 layers, or just until your desired thickness. Once I've got my skin to my desired thickness, I go in with my blow dryer and I blow dry it down. Honestly, if you let it blow dry on its own, it'll take between 30 to 45 minutes, but if you use a blow dryer, it usually gets pretty dry within about 5 minutes, so I suggest using a blow dryer to speed up the process. So here you can see I'm using some cotton. I'm using this to create a little bit thicker of a skin, so that way when I add my twine it doesn't break too easily. But honestly, this cotton did not work out well for me, so I do halfway through switch over to cotton pads just to make it a little bit easier for me. If you have a hard time with just regular cotton the way I did, I suggest cotton pads or cotton balls, and it works out just as well and still gives you that thickness that you will need when applying the twine to your mouth. Next, I'm going in with some foundation. The foundation I'm using is from NYX in the Can't Stop, Won't Stop Matte Foundation in the color Warm Walnut. I'm going to take this foundation and apply it all over my fake skin. I'm just doing this so it matches the rest of my body. Obviously, it's not matching perfectly because I'm adding it on top of a foreign substance, but that's totally fine because as you go on, you'll be using setting powder and different colors to make it look bruised, so this won't matter too much. But yeah, this is the foundation I'm using to start off with. I then set that foundation with my NYX Matte But Not Flat Pressed Powder in the color Deep Espresso just to set that foundation in place. As you can see, as I'm setting it, it gets a little bit closer to my skin tone. As I said, it doesn't matter too much if it doesn't match perfectly because as we go on, we'll be adding bruising and blood, so you're good to go. Then I use my Morphe and Jaclyn Hill collaboration palette and use the color Central Park to create some bruising on my fake skin. Alright, here you can see I'm starting to create my mouth. I'm using some household scissors. Honestly, if you have some small cosmetic scissors, I would suggest using those because these were extremely scary to use and really hard to use just in general. So if you have some cosmetic scissors, go ahead and use that because these are not the easiest to work with. Once I got over the fear of the scissors, I did create a slit in my fake skin from ear to ear because I wanted it to be pretty wide. And then once I did that, I then cut away any extra skin on the top and bottom so I had a large enough gash or opening for my blood in my mouth. Alright, so for this paint job, I start off right away with a purple grease paint. One thing I will say is, I got this grease paint and all the grease paints I use in these videos from Walmart, just in the regular Halloween section. And honestly, it's really hard to use on dark skin, so I would not suggest these grease paints from Walmart. If you plan on doing any SFX or gory Halloween looks like this, I would suggest ordering them online from Amazon or wherever you can, because the ones in Walmart honestly are just not tailored for darker skin. So I did have a bit of trouble, so I did a lot of mixing. I mixed the purple grease paint with the black grease paint and was able to get that desired beat up dark look on my mouth and the skin area around it. Then for the skin flaps, I start off using the red grease paint that was provided to me in the Walmart palette, but once again I got super frustrated with it, so I switched over to the MAC Cosmetics lipsticks in the color Ruby Woo, and it gave me the desired red that I was looking for. Alright, so once I'm done with my paint job, I then go in with some coagulated blood I also got from Walmart. It's not super thick as in chunky, but it's thick enough that it doesn't run too much everywhere. So I then use that coagulated blood and I put it all around the crevices of the fake skin just so it looks, you know, pretty beat up and bloody, and I'm trying to make it look as fresh as possible, as if my mouth was recently ripped open. Once I'm done with that first round of blood, I go in my Jaclyn Hill and Morphe palette and I use that black to create some bruising around my mouth. If you're darker skin, I would suggest using deep browns and blacks to create bruising, but if you're lighter skin, go ahead and stick with the reds and browns, but it seemed to work out well for me while using this black to create my bruising. Alright, so now I'm going in with my twine. For this look, you're originally supposed to actually sew the twine, but I had made my skin too thick so the twine was not going through. So after about 15 minutes of me trying to sew the twine correctly, I gave up and I decided to use liquid latex to create my sewn look. So instead of actually sewing it, I just did an up down fashion and sticking it to the skin with liquid latex. Alright, so then I'm going back in with blood. Don't worry about all that white latex that you can see. Liquid latex does dry clear, so that will all go away. But I'm just going back in with some blood around the mouth just to make it look gory. And you know, it's Halloween, so I'm giving you Tarantino. You know what I'm saying? So I decided the coagulated blood was not enough, so I used some spray zombie blood to make it a little bit more runny. And then I also go in with a stippling sponge and I'll stipple the blood around just so it looks a little bit more splattered and messy to create more of that sewn, fresh blood, ripped face look. Now I'm adding my 6'9" tattoos. Honestly, I could not be bothered with actually drawing these on. I was already tired at this point, so I just used some tattoos that I ordered online. It was only 10 bucks, and I just go ahead and I add the tattoos where I thought was correct. I did use a reference photo just so that I could have them in the correct area. I didn't add every tattoo he had because once again I couldn't be bothered, but if you want to be perfect, go ahead and use every tattoo that you could order, or you know, draw them out how you like, but this is how I decided to do it. So at this point I did go ahead and throw on my rainbow wig and I put on a button-up shirt that I hoed up because, you know, it's Halloween and we like a good hoe outfit. But yeah, I did this just to create my court look and look as 6'9" as possible. I did go ahead and add that chest piece as well. You'll see that I'll be adding more blood because honestly, the more blood the better in my opinion. But yeah, so I go ahead and just get it a little bit more bloody for kicks and giggles. Honestly, y'all, I could not bring myself to ruin one of my good wigs for this video, so I did buy a Party City wig, and then I go ahead and add some Vaseline on top of it to make it greasy like 6ix9ine's hair, and I'm just doing whatever I can to make this Party City wig not too Party City and enough 6ix9ine for the sake of the video. So now I'm using black hairspray to give myself roots. 6ix9ine does have some pretty dark roots because man's never did his hair. So I'm using some black hairspray to give myself roots. Honestly, it wasn't coming out as dark as I would like. So then I go in with my Juvia's Place palette and use the color Chad, which is just a black, to make it blacker. Honestly, it didn't do too much, but I just wanted to give it as realistic of a look as possible. So yeah, that's what I did for the hair. So I'm virtually done with this look at this point. So this is my 6ix9ine inspired mouth sewn shut look. This is my first time attempting SFX makeup. So for it being my first time, I think I did a pretty good job. What do you guys think? Make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And make sure you come back tomorrow for my next Halloween look. Thanks again for pulling up on my channel. I ain't got shit else to say. Bye!